morning, it's Bill with Bill's Never Ending Projects. Today's agenda is to take off the starter and look at it, or test with the voltmeter the battery, see if it's under 6 volts and I have to go get a new one. And I got the battery charger out here. This is a battery charger that I picked up in an auction for probably $10, or they must have said it didn't work, or else I paid more and got ripped off. But I think I put a new timer in here, and I know I put a pair of rectifiers in there, or don't remember how many, 1 or 2 or what, but rectifiers changed. It was my first electronic project that I actually got working. The rectifiers and a battery charger changed the voltage, AC voltage to DC, so you can charge a battery. Stuff out here is DC, like on a tractor and a car. So, might as well use it. I fixed it. It's just been sitting around. I'm gonna test this here voltage right now, and I would think that I mean, I got a better one, but these little $6 ones, it lights up. So I'll pick the one for voltage and wherever that is. One of these. Put it on pause here and I'll find it. This whole bracket right here is for volts, so I either put it on 20 or I go up to this battery checking setting for dry cell batteries, and it goes up to 9 volts for transistor batteries. So I don't know. I'm going to try one of these two right now. I'll leave it on the 20 volt setting and see what I get here. Get this rubber band off here. Leads aren't very long, but where to set it? If you've ever used voltmeters, the leads always tangle up. They're never separate. You gotta always untangle them. Okay, so that's positive. Negative. Oh, it's under 6 volts. It's 573, so yeah, you can't jerk these cords. This is just a cheap little voltmeter. These ends are pretty easy to wreck. But it said 5 volts, 5 3/4 volts, so that means it's under the 6, which it's never supposed to be, even when it's low, I don't think. But I'll try the charger just for the heck of it. So let's do that first. Charge this a while. Then we'll come back and see if it does anything. If not, then I'll trade this in for a new battery, and if that don't do anything, then I'll take the starter apart. Okay, I got the charger on. I put it on 30 minutes. Believe it or not, let me zoom in. There's the setting for 6 volt. That's the timer. That's the setting for 6 volt, and it says it only gives you one setting. 50 volts. So I guess that should charge it. So I I set it there for 30 minutes. You can see it straight up. And over here, and over there, you can see that top meter is over in green. So it might mean the battery's still good. It's just low. And the bottom meter has never worked, and I didn't replace that. I replaced enough stuff on it. I figure leave that for a later time, or I just don't have a voltmeter on the bottom, or whatever those meters are in battery chargers. So I'll leave that go for a while, and we'll see what happens.
They're amp meters, and I mean it's charging 50 amps. I clarify that later.
And it does have a 6-volt what's that called? Start for like a jump. That's 125 amp 6-volt jump. Well, that would be interesting if a little while I put it on that 125 volts. Gee. So it's if you were doing a 12-volt battery, it says it's a 50, the highest it does anything for 12 volts is 50 volts. 50 volts, 15 or 2. But meters never work. So anyway, I could I could put it on that 125 volt jump start thing before I go get a new battery after I charge it for a little bit. It could be that when you charge it the day of, it might hold the charge, and then the next day it might not. Might be one of those also. Well, that's enough on the battery. Come back in a little bit. My mistake, my bad. It says 50-15 for 12 volt, 50-15 2. It's not volts, it's amps. I don't know what I said, but it's amps. So that's what battery chargers do, and so it's 50 amps it's giving it. So I think
amps is like the pressure. How much pressure?
I can't use my voltmeter to check the battery charger's amperage that it's kicking out. I would have to use the amp side of the voltmeter, and I'm not going to. Voltage to test with a voltmeter is really simple. Amperage, you got to go in and out. So I'll just test the battery to see if it's still on that 5.75 after half an hour. Well, on second thought, with the amp meter not working on the charger, how could I even tell? I'm going to have to fix that amp meter before I start using this charger, even though the charger works. Because how would you know if you had the battery cables on? You know how you got to move them around a little once in a while to make the amp meter jump up? So how would I know if it's even charging? So I'm going to switch chargers to one that has the amp meter working. Well, I switched battery chargers. This one I think I bought back in 1988. It's only needed the 120 cord replaced once, and it's never broke. But it's a 210, 40, 200, 12 volt, and 6 volt. And 6 volt is just not as good as the other one. It only has a 40 amp, and the other one had a 50. It doesn't have any trickle charge for 6 volt like the other one, but it has no 125 amp jump start for 6 volt. I should have kept the other one over here in case I wanted to try that jump. Might have to bring that one back. But in between changing the chargers, I seen that the juice went up almost to 6 volt. It was on 595. So it could be promising, but this one, the top gauge, the other one, the top gauge, went in the green, say it's good, and this one, still in the red, says it's bad. But who knows if this gauge even works on this one. So we'll give it, I'd rather charge at a 40 amp rate anyway than 50. That's not good for batteries to give them those fast charges. So I'm just going to go do something different and come back. There is one sign of it maybe not being a good battery. It's hard to see through this glass or plastic on there. But if it's supposed to be this dead, then why is it not going up past 20 amps to like halfway? To where a dead battery would be, then it would come back down to 20. It's already back down to where it would be when it's charged. So I'm not getting good vibes here. I'm probably in a half an hour going to be going and trading this for another new battery. Because if it was so dead that it wouldn't even turn the tractor over, that should be up in the middle somewhere, in my opinion. The other thing I did is I put on some gloves and had glasses on and stood way back and took off each cell cap on a 6 volt. There's only 3, and each one's bubbling, so there is no dead cells. At the most, it could be just a hair low on water on each cell, a hair. I got a dehumidifier downstairs. I could get some distilled water from if this thing ends up being good, which I don't know, because if I remember right, this gauge and this charger usually worked. If it was a good battery, it'd go up in the green, and it's still in the red. Well, that's charging. I've never seen a voltage regulator that looked like that. It's in a circle. And according to that girl, the woman that talks about IH Tractor Service, she says they're either a cutout or they're a regulator. So it's a cutout or a regulator, but why is it round? I don't have a C parts book, so I'm going to have to look into this to see why it's round. Who knows? Maybe to charge. I doubt it. And another thing to look into. Just to see if it'll turn over now since I've been charging it. The thing is, this is that positive ground, so then I don't know how to put on the cables on the battery with the positive ground, because so then I took off the cables just to charge the battery. So I can't just pull it. We put it on pause and put the cables back on and find out. I suppose if I put them on wrong, it'll make some big spark. That's just, I find out on different tractors, but then I forget all the time, so I'll have to figure it out again. Okay, according to the smart charger, I put the cables back on, but I didn't want to just make the big jolt to try to figure out how to put them on when you have positive ground. So according to this thing, it's one of these that if your battery is lower than 12 volts, it won't even stay going. So it's so smart. It's got the automatic shut off and all that, but it won't do a dead battery. It just will do a low battery that's 12 volts or higher. So then you got to fool it into thinking it's 12 volts or higher with another battery, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a charger. But it does have the reverse polarity thing. So when you got the things on backwards, the cables, it beeps. So I put them on, I put the cables back on where the ground's on the positive, and then I put the hot, where it would be on the cable that would be hot, and it beeps, so it has to still, the hot cable, even though it goes to the ground, it's positive ground, it's the larger post, it's positive post, so the positive post, you still put the charger on the positive post. I guess you just forget about where the cable goes to the ground, and I don't even know why that works, because I mean, that cable is going to the ground, so why that would work.
The
So
battery
see if it's
cable's
gonna work.
going to the
I'm gonna
ground.
put the charger on just the way this thing told me it would work, so we'll see if it works, if I don't get the big spark. Okay, that worked. I put it on the positive just like you normally would, even though that positive cable's going to the ground, and there was no big spark and the charger charged normal, so I'm going to have to write that down so I don't have to go through this every time I put a 6-volt positive ground charger on. I end up taking off the cables at first because I don't know which way it does it, and so you still put it on normal. I don't understand that, because that ground cable,
The battery,
hot. It's
the
going
battery
to the
ground cable.
frame of the tractor, so, but it still works. You just put them on normal according to what the batteries at posts are. The one's marked positive, stick it on there just like normal. I guess you just forget where the cables go, and that's good. And then in between putting it on there, I checked it, and we're up to 6.5 volts. So I think I am ready to see if this will turn over. Okay, well, I'm going to go around and pull the starter button, see what happens. I do have the gas turned on, but I've never pulled this off to see if there's gas at the hose here. So if it did turn over and it doesn't start, then, and the choke works, I'm not getting up on the seat. The elevator's on there, and it's hard to even climb up there. I'm going to have to build a step on this thing to step up from this side. Here goes. Now the charger's also going to keep going at 40 amps. You gotta be kidding.
Definitely wasting my time with that battery. I'm just checking the cables. It's not that.
Well, I don't know. There's no use of waiting for it. It went over that tiny little bit like it did yesterday. Not sure what's going on, but I've already taken one cable off and sanded it to where it goes to the frame. And no, these battery cables don't look like brand new. Where I put them on the battery cable, I don't even have them tightened down with a wrench. So I've moved them around now, and usually that would make it kick if that's what it was. So, throw my hands up. It looks like different battery or different starter. Okay, back to figuring it out. Okay, good news. I even took a another 6-volt battery I had sitting out here on the ground all winter, and it was better than that one. It turned it over like once or twice without even putting a charger on it. So that one that I had is loaded up in my trunk, and I'm going to get a better one because that proved it right there. And then I put the charger on it when it was sitting on the ground all winter, and it turned over 4 or 5 times. So I'm gonna figure that battery's just junk. I've done that before. I spend an hour or so trying to justify that I gotta bring that and throw it away because once you trade it in, it's gone. And I worked at a battery company once called Northern Battery, and that they take all these batteries that people say are bad and they bring back, and out of all those, there's always a percentage that they can charge and resell. So that proves that this one is not one of those. It's junk. And I'm off to the store. I have to go and get my wallet, and I'm off to the store. Well, I'm back from the store. If I'd have known they doubled the price of these 6-volt batteries, I used to pay, I never worried about it that the 6 volts didn't last that long because I think they were only about 45 or 50 bucks. They just charged me $98 with tax at a hardware store, so I either bought it at the wrong place or, I'll learn. Next time I won't buy it there. I'll see what Walmart's prices are. But anyway, that's not here and there. It's already spent. So that's why so many tractors on Marketplace are coming without a battery. It says runs good and everything, but I'm keeping the battery. You see why, if they're $100 bucks. Well, I'm going to see if we got any spark at the coil. So I guess I'll turn the key on. And while I'm doing this tractor has a drain, so there's a short somewhere. And if there's only these 2 wires coming off the battery, there's a black one going up here to the coil. Right here, it winds around. And the other one goes and is hooked to the solenoid where the cable goes on there to juice something. So I'll probably take that yellow wire off the starter there and see if the short goes away, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'll probably have to keep recharging this battery anyway, so here we go. Let me fire it into the head. Let me shut the light off so I can see the sparks. Keys on. Ouch! I didn't see any sparks, so I held on to it. But that wasn't that big of a shock. I just overreacted. Because I couldn't even see a spark, but there was paint there. So there is some kind of spark, I guess. Okay, that time I seen it. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's there. I'll zoom it in. The oil filter gave a good spark. There goes. Keys on. I hate to wear my battery on, showing spark, but. Okay. So you must have seen it then. I don't know why it looks lit up here because I don't have any flashlights on. Anyway, so there's spark there. So let's see if we got it in a coil wire. Spark plug wire. Put that one back on. Oh, look how shot that wire is. Okay. Well, let's try one. I suppose I'll try it. Oh, it's going to spring around. Let me get something to push against it so we can all see it. Okay, so I added the battery charger, as long as that has that short and it's draining. I took the coil wire off again and I shut the key off. And of course, you do have to have the key switch on to get the spark it where I had it by the filter. So the key does have to be on. And so I got the key on. Let me just raise it up a little to, how about right there, this plate. I'm gonna try it here. Keys on. I wish this had a trickle charger, so the longest I'll leave it on here is for a couple minutes at a time. 40 amps. Okay, shut the light off. Yeah, there's spark. Okay, so we got that settled. There's spark. So now I'm going to go around and pull the gas line and see if there's gas coming to the carburetor. Okay, I had the switch on. It's off now. I was up on the seat. I found out the seat needs all kinds of work. I did buy a new seat. I guess I knew that for parts. And it's set for some little kid to drive it. It's all the way up. I can't barely get in between the steering wheel and the seat. But regardless, it didn't even pop. It's almost like the gas is shut off, so now I gotta take the clamp off right in front of the, right here. I'm gonna take it off there with a ball under it or something and see if I start getting gas pouring out. I don't know what else to do.
Later, I take that clamp off.
It's hanging way down there. Does it come back up? Maybe I should. I was worried about that. I could just tie it there. Anyway, I could play with that once I get the hose off. But I gotta go shut the gas off. At least it cranks over good now, or sort of good. I'm sure the engine's nice and tight, so with the good compression. So the wife is not here to pull me around, and so I gotta keep monkeying with the starter. I mean, using the starter to try to start it for the first time. But I need to get gas in there. And this plug that I put in here, maybe I could take that out and spray something in there. Maybe it would suck up. Maybe I'll try that.
But that gas line, even though when I,
let me shut the charger up.
even though I moved the clamp, I can't.
Good connection at the carburetor.
It's really tight.
So tight for me shoving on. I didn't even need no clamp. I'd have to use a pliers and all to get that off. Let me see.
And I still couldn't get it off. But what I learned to do
this one here is
was to just
the same way.
unbolt it with the clamp off,
I
and
could pull this off. So
it just spins in a hose. That's what I learned to do.
yes, gas pours out. Well, that's gonna heat my glove. Okay, gas pours out. This doesn't have any hole in the bottom. I guess it does. I don't know, maybe the jet's not turned up enough. Well, I'm going to change these gloves and I'm going to do a couple things different here. I'm going to try taking this manifold plug back out. See if I can spray some ether in there. See if it'll pop. Choke on, key on. Flashlight on. Nothing. The hydraulics started going up. Or down or something.
No pop, nothing. It's gotta be, it's not getting gas. Because it's got spark.
Hey, that's a lot of nothing. Well, now's when you really have to be an expert. Why is it not popping at all? I suppose I could put a little gas in each plug hole, and then if it doesn't pop after that, then it's maybe not. But the thing is, I had that choke fully pulled. I don't see any gas running out on the ground like I would with a regular international carburetor. What's the deal? Do I gotta take this apart? I don't know. Throw my hands up. Call a mechanic. Okay, I went around and took a plug out on the other side, and it's dry. No smell of gas. So I guess what, I have to pull the carb and learn where all these adjustments, what they do, or if it's a copy of that carburetor, Marvel, whatever, maybe I could just get a Marvel. What is it called? Marvel Schwegler or something. Maybe I can get a Marvel book. Or I guess a C service manual, or even a B one if they had these, might tell me what these are. There's this big screw here you can turn with your hand. Want a screwdriver one here. And I don't think there's anything down there. That plug could be a jet that would pull out. But so this one here could just be not turned up enough or something. So I gotta see if I can find a manual. It's dinner time anyway. So since my carb's not giving any gas, and the gas line has gas, I did some research here on my carb. I thought it's called the TSX 171. The Marvin Schwebler carb TSX 171 is what the service manual for the A and the B, Farmall A and B, says they use. And the one I bought says, and it is highlighted where it replaces that one, the TSX 157. So I also found the same carb I found on eBay for $95, on Amazon for about $50. So I emailed the guy I bought mine from, and I said, is that the same one? We'll see if he'll tell me. But I don't have anything with Amazon to get the free shipping. I wish I did. If I did enough parts, I certainly would pay for that, where you pay for that yearly thing where you get free shipping. So now I guess I'm going to have to tear into the carburetor to see if the float's stuck or what it is. I found out some of the stuff that this is the main jet. That this I think is the main jet.
It adjusts the main jet.
Adjustment thing, and the main jet's on the inside, and you need a screwdriver for it. So somewhere, yeah, the main jet. So it says there's a main jet, an idle jet, a discharge nozzle, an economizer jet, fuel valve and seat. Well, that would be what I'm going to check to see if it's stuck with the float. And it said the float is set at 9:30 seconds with the gasket hanging it upside down inverted. and it said set this all the way in and back it out one. So I think right now, maybe I'll see where we're at. So it's pretty much pointing towards the fan right there. So one. It's almost 2 turns. So there's the 1. There's 2. It's about 1 3/4 turns out. So that should be enough to get fuel. So 1. I like this how you don't need to use a screwdriver. So it must be the float stuck. So I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to do, I'm going to change the gas line here. Maybe you're going to do something dumb or stupid. I talked about this in an earlier video about where this thing's going to stick out. Because it's going to have this, instead of having the correct fitting, that's only going to be about this long. It's got that compression fitting and then the nozzle thing hooked to that, so I got 3 things hooked together. I mean, normally you would want it probably pointing that way, so the gas doesn't have to come back up. So I'm going to turn it either straight up over here so it's actually going downhill, because if I back it up, then this will be loose. So I'm going to take some of these apart and do that. Okay, a little while later, I put the gas line. It doesn't go way down. It doesn't go way down and come back up anymore. Pretty much just goes straight over. So I don't know if that will have any effect. I did get the number off the generator. Said it was Delco Remy, serial number 1013558J22. Whatever that means. Doesn't mean it's a Delco Remy is what all it means, because people replace these instead of repair them. I'm pretty sure. But after taking the gas tank off, I know somebody sprayed paint all over this. So, in fact, might have been sprayed over. He might have sprayed over the rust. So, now do we get gas? I'll put this on pause and turn the gas back on. I shut it off because I was going to take it off, and maybe I'll turn it over a few times to see if I can flood it or something. And then if that don't happen, then I gotta tear into it. So now when I take the carb off, this is gonna hit. So I have to move the generator every time. Oh well. I think I'll wrap the carb. Not that that'll do any good, but if the gas line made any difference being level. Plus, in case I had the flow of gas wrong, I opened it in the middle, but I'm pretty sure because when I was out on the table blowing the air compressor through, when I shut it all the way in, that would make sense. That would close the valve inside, and when I let it out, lengthened it out towards the, just out, I don't know which way it's facing, that would probably enable open the gate to let the gas through. It just makes sense. But I screwed it in a couple turns just in case. I did the flow. I even pushed the clutch in when I turn it over to make it easier. Clutch don't feel adjusted right, but there is something there. So might be able to see the fan there. in the video. So do it again, waste some more battery. Key on. Okay, that's enough to flood anything. That's enough to flood anything, but with this hose on so tight, the gas wouldn't even run on the ground. I put that new hose on it. Would I be able to smell it through the air cleaner tube? I don't smell any gas. I think we got the same problem. Float's probably stuck inside the carb, so I gotta take that apart now. Means loosening up the generator again. Oh, if I could take the bottom off like I do on Farmall H's and leave the top on, I wouldn't have to. I can see that screw. I can see that screw. I can see that screw. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Anyway, I gotta take the air cleaner off. I'm gonna see if any gas runs out of it when I take the air cleaner off. See you then when I get that off. Well, I've been fiddling with the car. I decided to leave the air cleaner. I had to take the oil thing off. Everything's more complicated now as it's all put together, the tractor. So I got the fuel thing that's up, so I gotta move the generator when I monkey with the carb, and the oil thing was on the air cleaners. So I had to remove that, and then that drips. I didn't even know that it touches the stuff up in here, so it makes it drip. Because I moved it before I even angled it. This is the way it is. When I had the carburetor off, I was going to start doing those screws. I even had one out. Hopefully they're all tight. When I didn't see any signs of gas until I turned this carburetor. I had this jet out because it says in the book to take this out before you disassemble it. Must stick down in there. So I had that out. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but then when I had the choke rod unhooked and I unhooked the throttle linkage, I had it right out here. Then I tipped it sideways. That was the first sign I seen of any gas. So it possibly means that the float's not adjusted correctly. And it's because if the needle and seat was stuck, I wouldn't have all of a sudden seen gas. So possibly the float's not adjusted right. It's just adjusted just to work when the thing's on an angle or something. I don't know, but now that I got this off, I don't know why I didn't keep taking it apart. But the generator's not going back on here. I think this belt, I think it'll turn okay. I don't know. I just want to, I put this out another turn. Maybe it's because I had this out. I don't know, but I've turned the gas back on. I have to always take the cable off because the It's drawing electricity it's not supposed to. Same darn thing this Farmall cover I have is doing. I have to bring that in and see why it's drawing electricity when you're not using it. Only that one draws an extreme amount when you're not using it. Well, even though there was some gas in there, it isn't now it's supposed to be impossible to choke with the air cleaner hanging in. Like that. No, I got it choked. See if I can put my hand over it, but if the choke's fully closed, when I open it, gas should run out. Yeah, it doesn't. Let me open this thing 2 or 3 more turns. Huh? The gas does not rush out, so let's just back it out 1 turn this time. Maybe 2 turns is wrong. I think my belt that's just floating there. Time level. I don't think I've even got any gas to the plugs yet. I think I'm going to have to adjust the flow. Doggone it. At least I'm going to have to check it, so the carb does have to come apart. Okay. I checked I inverted this. I guess it's the top piece. Yeah, it's got the studs. That's 9/32 like it's supposed to be. It's just barely over a quarter. Nothing wrong with that. The thing is not stuck. I checked the jet. I mean, it's new. How could it be plugged? I blew on it. It's fine. So I'm just gonna put it back together. I blew through the past. So now the next thing is to put my hand on the intake manifold to see if it's sucking up before I put the carburetor on, because maybe it's not sucking up. I have put my hand over the intake pipe now, and I'm not getting hardly any suction. No suction. So I did some checking, and they said not having any manifold vacuum to suck the gas up refers to even the timing could be jumped 1 notch, which this doesn't have a timing chain. So this doesn't have a timing chain, so I doubt it jumped 1 notch. be when I had this brand new manifold sitting. Maybe somebody built a nest on it and it's plugged up. I could check that. And other than that, it's my valve job. I gotta. Well, then why do I have such good compression? It just doesn't have any gas in there to explode because it won't suck any in. Can't believe it has that great of compression. So that means I did better on which valves to make it suck in. Can't be the exhaust valves. It would be the intake valves. And then they both have to be shut to get good compression. Maybe I should take a compression test before I pull the head off. But I have an extra head that I bought in the meantime of all this. It's from a Super C. And I still got all the new valves I got in valve suits. I don't know. I'm stumped. This is the end of the video today. Because nothing's sucking the gas up, so there's no use of putting this back up to the manifold. I put my hand here. I mean, there was a hole here they didn't have plugged, plus there's another one somewhere. I don't know. This all doesn't make sense. That if I got that good of compression, you'd think I'd have also evenly the same good vacuum. But that's the end of the video today, because could be 2 more days of working all day, taking the head off, and this and that to, I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't know all this was going to happen after a valve. I mean, I went to buy a tractor, an old LSB, and I drove over there to work on it like 5 times. It was about a half an hour to get over there, and then I finally figured out that it didn't have any vacuum to suck the gas up. So then I probably could have got this to pop by putting some in the spark plug hole, but I'm not going to pull it to start it. So I'm not going to pull it every time to start it. I got to have vacuum at the carburetor, same as I got to have compression at the power stroke of the piston. So back to the drawing board. Well, I might have found the problem, because I knew I had this one plug here I had to buy, right there, and so it looks like there's something hidden under here. Here's a hole drilled in there, right there, and there's another one. Where are they? Right there's the 2 of them, a pair right in the corners, drilled. It's part of the intake manifold. Why would, and you, okay, my mistake. It was on this side. There they are, one there and one there. And there's no threads to plug them up. And then, besides those 2, then there's these big ones that I can go thread just from going to the hardware store. 2 of them, one here and one here. So that's threaded. That would probably take the same 1/8-inch pipe plug that this one does. Unfortunately, 3.5 a piece. But then, why in the world are those there? So that could be enough that you don't get any vacuum. So maybe I don't have to take the head off again. Well, I'm going to run this off, download it. That's all I'm doing today. It's after 6 o'clock. at least I'll sleep better thinking that maybe it's possibly these, because I blew through there. These hook to where the carburetor would suck. So these two spots here. Yeah, they're way out there. So that one way out there and that one way out there. And that goes to this intake pipe. And this one goes to the intake pipe. So why would they put those holes there? Gee whiz. I don't understand why. And then I didn't see them because they're on the back side. So hopefully this solves it and I can get it running tomorrow. Well, at least I got experience taking my carburetor apart. It looked good inside, and I liked the way they built it. So I got a little more confidence in the carburetor now. Well, the one more thing I could add is these two small holes that aren't tapped. I put a flashlight inside where I put it in where the carburetor goes, and it shines some light on here. They're not tapped. So that means I'll have to tap them. Or put some JB Weld on them. I'll have to tap them. Put some kind of a screw into them or something. Wish I could find my old manifold. I could just put that one back on. Anyway, it sounds like I got a plan now for tomorrow, and it's just a bunch of plugging up holes and putting this back on, putting the carburetor back on, and turning the gas back on, and trying it again. All right, have a good night. Okay, I ran back in the house to get the camera because I stayed late out here. There's only about a half-hour daylight left, and I back from the store for the second time. Since I've already told you what I found out, it's my fault because I didn't check this intake manifold. I thought this was the only plug I had to plug up. That one. They had two on the back side, and then these. How can I find those? Yeah. See this, let me get down. Okay, it was zoomed way in. There, I put two, I tried 8s, but they were too small. It's 10, something by 10, 24, 10, 34. I bought a couple self-tappers, and I stopped before they broke off because they're not going to rattle out. They're self-tapping their way in, which makes them pull really hard. And they weren't nice Torx head ones, they were only Phillips. And so I just stopped while I was ahead. And then I put the generator back on, put the air cleaner back on, put this cheating muffler back in to where I just slid it in the middle until I go to a muffler shop and get one of these adapted. And put the battery cable back on, turn the gas back on. This is it. Because I know that was the problem, because I put my hand, I even started putting the carburetor on, but I took it back off. I put my hand there to make sure that was the problem. Boy, does it suck now. So 4 plugs were missing. So I would think it's going to suck gas up right away within a few seconds, and it's going to start. So that's why I ran back and got the camera. So because this was supposed to be me putting the battery in and starting it up, but I fiddled around with that bad battery, and then when I got a good one, I rechecked the timing and did a bunch of stuff, and now it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm thinking it's going to start up. So let me put this on pause, put it back on the tripod, and get the switch turned on, and maybe I'll even sit up in the driver's seat, and it's gonna run. I already got the gas turned on, so here we go. And I'm going to, I'm not even going to put the battery charger on it. The way all that hydraulic rods go through there, it's hard to put that ground on the battery. Unless I was, oh, I see I should be hitting it from this side. But with that steering column coming down on that 45 degree, you got all 3 rods going past the battery posts on the other side. The only one easy to put on is the positive ground. So I'm just going to leave it off. And at one time I did watch gas flow through there, so I know it does. And I know out is definitely on. So here we go.
I was talking about
Might even get up on here.
I was talking about the cable from the charger. They're hard to put on.
I stand there.
Not the battery cables themselves. The charger cables.
So any of that starting fluid I sprayed in there before, it wouldn't even suck up. Because there just was no vacuum. Just nothing, really. Oh, hydraulics going up and it started. I suppose it's got a cultivator on, so it probably should be up. Almost. Well, it's a really good sign. Maybe if I put the hydraulic down a little, it would quit trying to move that. I'll give it a little gas. I think I gotta give it a little gas to keep it running. I don't like starters that keep kicking out like that. Oh boy! Ha ha ha! I gotta check the oil pressure for you. Put the cultivator back on. I'm going to kill it for now. Good. Sounding good. All right. Ha! Finally. All right, well, you know, I'm happy about that. And I thought I had to take the head off again and stuff, and I just did a bad valve job or something. No pressure or no vacuum, so I should have checked the back of the manifold. Anyway, it's all good.